we have always supported Taiwan's identity as an independent people, and we stand by that. Also, I explained our appreciation for our sovereignty. Our sovereignty is one of Belize's greatest values. Our sovereignty is one of Belize's greatest assets, right? Our sovereignty is one of Belize's greatest features. And as a reliable friend, we have chosen to, every time we advocate for Taiwan in international forums, or when we support Taiwan in international communities, what we do is that we align our sovereignty. We align our most important asset with Taiwan. And if other larger countries would do the same, they would also make a great difference, for Taiwan. Additionally, I would describe Belize and Taiwan as being diligent and steadfast, and importantly, to succeed at safeguarding their sovereignty and their territorial integrity.
Wow, the answer is touched. 太可惜，打哈欠，你应该把它录下来的。
有，我是有录。
但我足客在打哈欠了，
好精彩哦！嗨，大家好，我们今天不是不负责任，
今天是负责访问，
对，今天是负责任的一场访问。我们今天非常荣幸地邀请到了贝里斯驻台湾大使Dr. Candice Pitt， 然后我们等一下跟他其实会有一场大概蛮精彩的专访。其实我们已经访问完了，我先问一下可心，你在这场专访前对贝里斯的印象是如何呢？
我有认识一个贝里斯人，然后就来台湾念书的。那时候我就说，哇，英文真的是非常好，就是美国的英文这样子。然后就之后透过这个人才了解，就是说他们是完全全英语的国家，
根本就是母语，
就是英文母语的国家。然后就那时候有点不好意思，然后就从他开始认识贝里斯。
OK，
但是坦白讲，还知道是邦交国，然后知道在中南美洲，但是除此之外，好像就了解的并不多了。
我只知道它有很多的玛雅文化遗迹，就反而玛雅文化不是在我们其他记得的地方，反而贝里斯是蛮多的。然后当然我记得的贝里斯的东西又更是一些政治性的东西，比如说它跟邻国的边界关系啊什么的。我觉得那个对于那样的认识都不太精准。你当然认识一个国家，你还是想知道它的文化嘛。
而且我觉得要去过，像你看台湾人对日本人好认识哦，你不觉得吗？
因为我们太常
去了，所以就觉得但是日本坦白说又不是一个邦交国，
所以你看我们怎么可以这么不认识我们的邦交国？
对。
好，那我们等一下的访问里面会提到了蛮多的包含到了请大使介绍贝里斯这个国家，然后我们还用非常有趣的形容词就如果台湾跟贝里斯是两个学生，我们是班上什么样的同学？我觉得他的答案非常非常的有趣，也很感动。然后同时间来到这里，其实我们不可能只聊吃吃喝喝，
对，
其实我们聊了蛮多贝里斯在中美洲的政治状况，然后还有到中美的现在大国的对抗之下，贝里斯如何界定他自己在国际上的地位？然后可是你有问到关于到了台湾跟贝里斯怎么合作嘛，对不对？
对，我觉得这也是蛮有趣的。之后我觉得我很喜欢大使的回答，然后你从他回答可以看到，其实台湾跟贝里斯有很多在地缘还有历史发展上面的相似之处。我们虽然是地球的两端，但我们对于这一些主权，然后对于民主，还有对于他们也历经了这个比较peaceful transition， 就是和平
稳定的转移政权。
对，和平转移这个政权。那我发现其实就跟台湾有蛮多意想不到，就是之前没有了解过的这些相似之处，然后是值得我们在发展这段关系上面更着重的部分。现在心里很痒，就觉得好想要赶快订个机票去贝里斯，
很想要去。大使把它介绍的非常吸引人然后我们当然还有提到一个关键问题，就是中国
在那边的角色，因为就过去几年，中国在整个美国的后花园，这个中美洲地区，他们不断的在扩张他们的影响力，然后又有问到说他们受到的影响，我觉得大使回答的非常的我觉得有点保守，但是他当然也不能讲太多，但他很清楚的指出我们选择的是台湾。
对，他讲了不止一次。我们选择了台湾，所以接下来这段专访呢，我希望大家可以看到是一个邦交国如何抵抗其他的外交干扰，然后很努力的跟台湾维系关系。他们到底有些台湾会说到底图什么？我想 在这场专访里面，你就可以看到他们是为什么愿意选择台湾。然后，当然希望看完之后你们也可以跟我们一样，很想要赶快买机票去贝里斯。然后，如果是收听 podcast 的听众呢，因为我们接下来是全英文访问哦，那有些内容其实会比较艰深一点，但我们会把所有的中文字幕都放在 YouTube 上面。所以，如果你听一听觉得想要去确认你听到的内容正不正确的话，欢迎到 YouTube 收看。那我们正好就开始喽。Okay, it's our pleasure to have you today, Ambassador. As we know that Belize has a formal diplomatic tie with Taiwan. However, I don't think there's much Taiwanese people know much about your country. So could you kindly give us a brief introduction to Belize?
Absolutely. And first, let me express that it's my honor to be here. Thank you so very much for the invitation and for this platform for us to discuss the diplomatic relationship between Belize and Taiwan. And to answer your question, Belize is a country with a multicultural population of a little less than 500,000 people. And our population comprises ethnic groups such as the Mayans, the Creoles, the Mestizos, the Garifuna, the East Indian, Mennonites, and a small percentage of other. Belize is the only English-speaking country in Central America. Mexico borders us to the north, Guatemala to the west and to the south, as well as Honduras and the Caribbean Sea to the east. While Belize is geographically located in Central America, it is also geopolitically a part of the Caribbean, as we are members of Caribbean polities and organizations such as CARICOM, Caribbean Communities, that helps to facilitate economic integration between member states and trade and investment and the free flow of people for the purposes of study and work and other purposes. And we are also a member of Central American organization and polities such as CICA, the Central American Integration System, that also helps to integrate the member states economically and for purposes of development. We're trade and investment between Belize and Taiwan and other countries in Southeast Asia is concerned. Belize occupies a geostrategic location because being a member of Central America, we have access to the Central American market of over 180 million people. And we also have access to the Caribbean market of another additional 45 million people. As I mentioned, we are the only English-speaking country in Central America. Our politics is stable. After every national elections, we witness the peaceful transfer of power. Our economy is also stable. Our currency has been 2 Belize dollars to $1 US for the past 40 years.
I want to imagine that Belize and Taiwan are two students. Okay, so in Asian stereotype, like Taiwanese is a very delicate student. We work hard, we study hard. In this analogy, what kind of student Belize will be?
All right, it's a very interesting question. From the perspective of an educator. So I was also a college professor for 10 years, right? And my perspective is that, or I would describe Belize and Taiwan as being friends, you know, students who are very good friends. On the part of Taiwan, a very helpful friend. You know, those students in class, there is always a student in every class who is extremely helpful, right? To everyone in the class. And I would characterize Taiwan as that very helpful student.
Raising all the time, like, I can help.
Right? Offering, right? Volunteering to help and genuinely wanting to help, right? And I think that has been the relationship between Taiwan and Belize. Taiwan has always been very supportive of Belize's development. And on the part of Belize, I would describe Belize as a reliable friend. We have always supported Taiwan's identity as an independent people. And we stand by that. Also, I explained our appreciation for our sovereignty. Our sovereignty is one of Belize's greatest values. Our sovereignty is one of Belize's greatest assets, right? Our sovereignty is one of Belize's greatest features. And as a reliable friend, we have chosen to, every time we advocate for Taiwan in international forums, or when we support Taiwan in international communities, what we do is that we align our sovereignty. We align our most important asset with Taiwan. And if other larger countries would do the same, they would also make a great difference, you know, for Taiwan. Additionally, I would describe Belize and Taiwan as being diligent and steadfast, and importantly, to succeed at safeguarding their sovereignty and their territorial integrity.
Wow, the answer is touched.
Yeah, I think that we do share lots of similarity of Taiwan and Belize.
Yeah. I want to go further about our relationships, but here's one more question about your experience in Taiwan. That I think this one is a very serious question that most Taiwanese people concerned about it. In your opinion, which country has hotter weather?
That's an interesting question.
Really?
So I will answer it from a scientific perspective first.
Okay. She's a professor.
Yeah.
Geographically, right?
Yeah.
Belize is located 1,000+ miles away from the equator.
Yeah.
And Taiwan is located at least 500 or more miles farther away from the equator than Belize.
Yeah.
And the science would indicate that those countries that are closer to the equator are warmer, and those countries that are farther away are a little cooler. Would suggest that Taiwan would be cooler than Belize.
Yeah.
However, based on the perspective or the experiences of those Belizeans who traveled to or visited Taiwan, and those Taiwanese actually who traveled to or visited Belize, they argue that Belize is cooler.
Argue?
Yes, their point of view is that Belize is cooler because Belize has the sea breeze.
Yeah.
In fact, for those Belizeans who cannot afford or who do not want air conditioning in their homes, on a very hot day, they would choose to either go outside in a hammock under a tree or just sit under a tree because it becomes a little cooler outside. However, in Taiwan, there is this almost this enclosed, dry kind of humidity.
Yes.
So I think based on those experiences, people are of the view that Taiwan tends to be a little warmer than Belize.
Yeah, I cannot stay under a tree for 3 minutes.
Here in Taiwan, right?
Yeah, in Taiwan. Okay. So here comes the second part. Discuss more about the relationship between Taiwan and Belize. So, as I mentioned, that we have a diplomatic tie. So, could you describe the key interaction or collaboration between our two countries?
Unlike those relationships, I would say authoritarian regimes, right, that are based on coercion and on control, Belize and Taiwan's relationship is grounded in mutual respect, in mutual understanding, and in the promotion of mutually beneficial cooperation. And since 1989, when Belize and Taiwan formulated diplomatic relationship, both countries have been committed to augmenting these relations in areas such as agriculture, education, healthcare, trade and investment, and others. In fact, Belize and Taiwan had since signed several agreements in airspace, in Coast Guard, and in 2022, Belize and Taiwan effectuated the Economic Cooperation Agreement, which is an agreement that reduces tariffs on goods exportable from Belize to Taiwan and goods exportable from Taiwan to Belize. And concurrently, Belize has also been exploring other areas of business interests for the Taiwanese investors and consumers in areas such as real estate development, BPO, agriculture, aquaculture, deep fishing in the EEZ, exploration in petroleum, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So our relationship, our diplomatic relationship, has been based on these mutually beneficial cooperation.
And I'm really interested is that we know that in the past few years, China has been strengthening their involvement and their influence in the Caribbean region. So I'm curious, does Belize also face this kind of China's influence or expansion of influence or any pressure from China in your country?
I will respond to that question by saying that Belize has been unapologetic in terms of its support and its acknowledgement of Taiwan, its advocacy for Taiwan as an independent country. And of course, China has been very involved in geopolitical competition to expand its reach, and we have witnessed the effects of that kind of expansion in our region in terms of the pressure that has been placed on other countries to make a choice, and those countries had made their choice, right? But in the case of Belize, Belize has also made a choice, and Belize's choice is Taiwan.
Is there any room for Belize to have a formal diplomatic tie with Taiwan? There's a room for you to manage the relationship with China.
Belize will not be dictated to. We firmly believe in sovereign equality, the equality of sovereign states, right? And Belize identifies as a sovereign state. And no one dictates to us, no country dictates to us whom our friends should be, right? We get to choose our friends as an independent country. And as I've mentioned before, Belize has chosen Taiwan. And I believe China functions on a principle that if you choose Taiwan as your friend, you cannot be our friend. And